Well, hello, and thank you, Shushan, for the very nice introduction. Well, when I was invited to deliver a speech, obviously, it's not very wise, probably, to travel to the other side of the world for a 30-minute talk. But it is absolutely worth coming to Innovate Armenia, which is this learning hub. I've learned so many things about so many things, about so many people, and about so many phenomena. And this is a unique opportunity to share probably our modest vision of what we want to do in the field of education. So Innovate Armenia as well, to some extent, is about education. And it's really hard to talk about education and education policies. It's easier to talk about history, about neuroscience, about world, about Armenia, but about education policy, it can be very technical. And the second thing is that I am sure that everyone has an opinion about education policy. I am also certain that every single one present here now, at some point in life, had a conversation about his or her vision, how to reform in education. That's why it's a challenge to talk about policies in education. But the thing is that we need to do these profound reforms in the field of education in Armenia. And as every single project of change management starts with identifying the needs for changes, and identifying the challenges and providing solutions. As you know, a person who's been working in the field of education for 11 years, I can talk for years what can be done in education, but I'm not given the privilege of doing that, and you're safe in that regard. So I'll try to give 4 the most important things that I believe I want to share with you. So in every single education reform, the first thing is to say where we start. Where we start to reform, knowing that we have so many difficulties and so many challenges. The rigorous research out there says that if you want to have a sustainable development, if you want to have a system that is providing graduates who are knowledgeable and have received a quality education, then you need to start with early childhood development. And one of the things that I want to share is this, that in Armenia, we still have about 70% of our communities that have no single type of early childhood development and education, which is like kindergarten. So one of the areas that we have concentrated is to make sure that by 2023, 70% of Armenia is going to be able to provide early childhood development services. And this is of key importance because the first thing that we see even in school education is the difference of learning performance and learning achievement of those who have received early childhood education versus those who have not. So this is one of the key areas that we believe is a fundamental reform that we are undertaking. The other thing that I would like to share is the school education reform. We often talk about quality of education, but how often do we define what is quality? So it may sound surprising that if you don't have breakfast in the morning, your quality of learning may go down. Quality of education, UNICEF has opened with 5 domains. And I'll try not to be technical still, but this is quality learners first, which also says that we need to have proper nutrition for kids. The second dimension is quality environment. And quality environment is not only the books, not only the textbooks, but it's also the actual building and premises, as the library, as the quality environment is also the safety of the environment. The third dimension is quality teaching. Quality teaching is a huge challenge in Armenia. We have brilliant teachers that are either brilliant in the content or they're brilliant in the methodology. And this has to go hand in hand with the reform of in-service training and pre-service training. We have about 35,000 teacher population in Armenia. And they are very dedicated teachers. But what they oftentimes need is this correct mentorship, is this right mentorship for them. I remember before having the governmental hat, I was doing observation in a number of schools in Yerevan. And it was fascinating how the teachers who were teaching politics and law, they would listen, they were hungry for knowledge, they're hungry for new methodologies, for something new that they could invest in classroom, and they could see how their students are evolving and developing along the way. So a key vision for this is to make sure that we have the teachers that are so enthusiastic, follow the quality developments in the field of content and methodology. A key thing is also, of course, the content. And this is with the curricular review. So, a couple of hours ago, I was interviewed and I was asked, what is it that you think Armenia can share with the world? Apart from TUMO, laboratories of robotics, STEM education, I am hopeful that in 2 years' time, we're going to share with the know-how of curricular review. And this is for the following reason. You know that we all are aiming to meet the Sustainable Development Goals 2030. To do that, there is a foundational spectrum that looks into this Sustainable Development Goals, which is education for sustainable development. We in Armenia now have the luxury of investing these lenses, of having these lenses for the curricular review throughout all the curricula from 1st to the 12th grade, which means that the education is going to aim for sustainable development. And Sustainable Development Goal 4 is only for education, but all the other ones, poverty reduction, women empowerment, this is all about education. The second layer that I believe that is going to be very important in our curricular review is gender mainstreaming. I've come to meet a lot of wonderful women, teachers, professionals in rural areas who didn't have this empowerment of the importance of their role. And it's very important that in our curriculum, we have gender mainstreaming that empowers women and gives them an opportunity, and also men, and gives the community an opportunity to develop. The third, my passion, that we're going to introduce in our curricular review is the research that we have, the recent research that we have on educational neuroscience. You know that this is a new field that was born with the marriage of neuroscience and educational research, and to review a curricula with the available research, with having this research informing this review, is a wonderful and tremendous initiative. And I very much hope that in 3 years' time, we will be able to say that we have succeeded in reviewing this curriculum. So the quality of education, getting back to the quality of education, it has a complicated multiple layers. And when we talk about quality, it's better to decompose and understand how we can address the challenges there. When we decompose, we also understand what are the possibilities that we have in terms of time and resources, and where is it that we want to focus. The budgetary process in our country, especially in the field of education, it's a complicated, multi-layered initiative. We always say that whatever reform we have to do in the field of education, we had to do that yesterday. But we see that when we reform the education system now, we're going to see its impact only in good case scenario, best case scenario, 10-year time, but realistically, we're gonna have it and see its impact in 15-year time. And that's why having a reform in the field of education is quite challenging. The third area that I wanted to share with you is vocational education and training development. So I have a lot of colleagues all around the world, Armenians, who are asking me, how can we support the development of Armenia? And my answer is, what is the business initiative that you want to have in one of the regions of the country? Come have your business there and share your business for the vocational education and training institutions so that they can provide a few students and you can support their study at your business and then have this quality employees. We're oftentimes talking about this gap that we have between the education and labor market, but guess what? To meet the needs of labor market, we need to open up the development strategies of the employer. And now the Ministry of Education is trying to create this platform where we can have educational institutions and employers not working in the silos, but collaborating together, trying to trust with each other. And this is another initiative and a huge challenge that we're trying to take. And finally, the final area that I'd like to share with you and say that this is also very much important for the reform of the country is higher education and quality in higher education. Again, to understand it, we need to decompose. But before decomposing, I want to share with this thing that oftentimes we're saying that the world of the labor market is developing and we need to retrain professionals to meet the needs of the employers. To retrain, that's good, but it's not sustainable and it's not fundamental. To have fundamental and sustainable strategy that we're going to meet the needs of the future job market, we need to have rigorous research. And guess what? The shortest way of raising the quality of higher education is by bringing research into higher education. We've been very good at STEM research. We've been lagging behind in the research of social studies. But we need to bring it up to the level of STEM education and providing this to an equal footing. Armenia has this vision that in 2030, it's going to be one of the top countries that is producing human resources and materials in IT, in data analytics, in microelectronics, and advanced materials. To do this, of course, we need to pay a lot of attention to STEM. But I was reading the other day a recent research on STEM and IT technologies and IT companies here in the United States. And more IT companies are employing artists, are employing managers, so graduates from humanities, from social science. And the reason is that there is this new concept that is called design thinking and design innovation. And if we want to have that, we need to boost research and we need to boost education, not only STEM, but also in humanities. And do not artificially add A in between STEM, because this is very artificial. We need to create this curricula throughout the whole educational system that provides equal footing to STEM and humanities. And arts education and physical education. And since I've run out of my time, this is the final thing that I want to share with you. Having worked in the field of education for about 11 years, I thought that I know what I have to do in education. I know what I need to, what are the fields that I need to reform. But guess what? When you enter into having the actual reform, you understand that there's so much you need to do. And I got really demotivated, saying that there are so many things that we need to do and we don't know where to start, what to do. And then a friend of mine shared a book with me. That is a conversation of two marvelous scholars on education and social change. And throughout their conversation, they say that they've reached to the peak of their career due to trying various things, failing, learning from the failure, and then developing a better project. And this book is called We Make the Road by Walking. I believe now is the opportunity for all the Armenians, by choice and by genealogy, to work together and to walk this road and to make this road by walking together. Thank you.